Man, look at that thing. It's like all over the place. It's like so much movement and variety. Man, it looks really good. It looks good. What happened? I mean, it still looks good, but where's all my movement? Where's all my flow? Hey, what's up my fish tank guys and girls? Today I'm coming at you with another video about the Fluval EVO 13.5 gallon aquarium, talking a little bit more about what I feel are essential upgrades if you either own this aquarium or are considering purchasing this aquarium. Now, I've done a couple videos in this series already talking about filtration and talking about lighting schedules, but today I'm going to be talking about water movement and flow throughout your aquarium. Now, the first component of flow that I'm going to talk about is the stock pump. Now, a lot of people tend to keep the stock pump as is. They say it offers enough flow. They see enough flow through their rear chambers and their filtration media, and that's okay if it works for you. However, I definitely recommend upgrading that stock pump. Now, I actually have scoured the forums and looked through different message boards and things like that to see what people recommended using, and a lot of people recommended the SyncraSic 0.5. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's SICCE, but they recommend the SyncraSic 0.5. So I tried that pump out. Now, after having that pump for a week or two, I also tried another pump out, which is called the Vivo Sun. Yeah, the Vivo Sun. I would be a little weary of the Vivo Sun too, but I saw one random person recommend this pump for this tank on some forum somewhere. Thank you to whoever you are, because it was a good recommendation, and I'm going to take you guys through the process of why I chose what pump I chose between the SyncraSic and the Vivo Sun. Both of them are very good pumps. Now, there are three aspects that I feel are most important to the functionality of the pump. The first is wattage use, the second is gallons per hour, and the third is size of footprint. Now, I mean, it's got to fit in the chamber, right? I don't know if they're important in that order, but those three things are important. And last but not least, this is not important to the functionality, but cost is always a factor. Now, first I'll start with the wattage use. The stock pump is rated at 7 watts, and both the SyncraSic and the Vivo Sun are rated at 8 watts. So a small increase, but hopefully we'll be getting some more gallons per hour out of that 1 watt of increase. You just want to make sure that it doesn't do something crazy, like a crazy jump up to 15 watts or 20 watts, because you'll start to see your electric bill creep up over time, and that's something we'd all like to avoid. So in terms of wattage, both the Vivo Sun and the SIC 0.5 are comparable. They're up 1 watt from the stock pump. So up next, I'm going to be talking about the footprint. Now, I'll put up a shot of the 3 pumps side by side so you can see that the SIC is basically the same size as the stock pump, and the Vivo Sun is smaller than both of them. Now, all 3 fit in the rear chamber just fine, but the Vivo Sun does have a little extra wiggle room, which is nice. I've never had any issue with it kind of rattling against the side of the glass or anything like that, which may happen when the pump is a tighter fit in the rear chamber. Now, last but certainly not least, actually the most important, is the output of these pumps. Now, let me tell you, pumps are always advertised as 1 rate of gallons per hour, but oftentimes the advertisement doesn't quite match the actual reality of what that pump moves in terms of water. So, being the fish tank guy, I couldn't take their word for it, right? I had to do a test of my own. So I'm going to tell you guys what these pumps are advertised at in terms of their gallons per hour, and then I'm going to tell you what I found them to actually be. Now, what I did for my test, and I'll show you guys the test here, is I basically put a 1-gallon container into a 10-gallon fish tank just so it didn't spill all over the place. And then I had a 5-gallon bucket filled with water right next to that fish tank. I ran a hose from the pump out of the bucket back down into the 1-gallon container, and I basically just timed how quickly it took to fill that 1-gallon container up. I do expect the advertised numbers to be a little lower because they don't take into consideration any rise or any turns in your plumbing, things like that. But in reality, the pump is at the bottom of the chamber. It's going up to the top of the chamber, and then there's a 90-degree elbow into the aquarium. So you're going to lose some of your gallons per hour by the time the pump actually gets to the display tank. So the stock pump is advertised 130, actually 92. The SICK was advertised at 185, actually it's 138 after I did my test. And last but not least, the VivoSun was rated at 210, and the actual was also 138. You know, the SICK and the VivoSun were so close, and when they finished, that basically I considered them being identical, okay? So the SICK and the VivoSun represent a nice, roughly 45 gallon per hour bump over the stock pump for 1 extra watt. Now, which pump did I go with? Which pump do I recommend? I went with the VivoSun. That's right, the VivoSun. Let me tell you why. The SICK 0.5 retails for $40. The VivoSun retails for $13. So, considering they use the same wattage, they have the same gallon per hour output, and the VivoSun has a smaller footprint, and it's a third of the price, the VivoSun was a no-brainer. Now you might be telling me, well, duh, the VivoSun is going to die within 3 months, right? It's so cheap. I've been running the VivoSun for about 8 to 9 months now, and I've had no issues with it whatsoever. And my rationale is I could buy the VivoSun 3 times before I buy the SICK 0.5 once. So the VivoSun is what I'm going to recommend to you guys in terms of an upgrade for your Fluval EVO stock pump. Now, if you guys watched my silly intro there, I was really excited to watch my torch coral billowing and flowing in the nice water movement in the aquarium. There was a lot of variety. It was kind of like going up and down and left and right, and it was all over the place, right? It was beautiful in terms of coral movement, right? It was great. But then you notice that it kind of stopped, and it sort of just kind of was like flowing a little bit. It was doing a little bit of movement, but like all that nice variety and the nice movement that is critical for coral health was kind of gone. Now, I didn't tell you guys what that actually was, but that was the difference between having my additional power head turned on and having it turned off. So a lot of people run the Fluval EVO without an additional power head. They say, I don't need it, the stock pump is just fine. Or maybe they upgrade their stock pump and that's fine, it's okay, I don't need it. Yeah, you might not need it, but man, there's a pretty big difference, right? You guys saw it. So I do recommend you guys get an additional power head for your Fluval EVO aquarium. And I'm going to go with the old tried and true Sunsun JVP 110. I know it's like one of the cheapest freaking power heads you can buy. Some people buy $100 power heads for this tank, which is good, more power to you, right? But more power, yeah, no. But you know, this Sunsun JVP 110 works great. It's advertised at 530 gallons per hour, which it's not. It definitely is not. If it was 530 gallons, things would be freaking flying all over the place in the aquarium. It'd be mass chaos, right? So whatever it actually is, I don't know. I don't really have a good way of testing power head gallon per hour movement. If somebody out there does, definitely let me know. I think that'd be really cool to test that in a lot of pumps, like advertised versus actual. That'd be really awesome. But the Sunsun JVP 110 is $8. That's it. It's $8. So you can buy 2 of them. You can have a backup for 16 bucks if you want, and you can add a lot of nice flow and variety into the display tank side of your Fluval EVO. Now you'll definitely want to experiment with moving it around. I have mine on the back wall. It's actually on the back wall right underneath where the return flow of the stock pump is. I found it works best for me there, but some people have it on the opposite side. A lot of people have it on the opposite glass, which is probably the best place to put it for random flow in your tank. But because of how my aquarium is situated in my room, I didn't want a cord coming around the side or even over the top, and then, you know, something being right in the front here, kind of like, you know, blocking the nice view of the tank. So I chose to put it on the back wall. So you may want to experiment with that a little bit, but I definitely recommend adding a power head here to the Fluval EVO. So I will have links to both of these products in the description below. And keep in mind, you can basically, you know, have a major upgrade within your Fluval EVO in terms of water flow and water movement for about 20 bucks. 13 bucks for a stock pump upgrade, and 8 bucks for a power head. I definitely recommend it. It will greatly improve the health of your coral and the health of your environment. It'll just make your aquarium a lot more enjoyable, you know, and better water flow is good for less, you know, algae and different things like that. So it's definitely a good idea, if you can have more flow in your tank and it doesn't like disturb things, to go ahead and go that route. So once again, I am the Fish Tank Guy. Thank you so much for checking out my channel and checking out this video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so. I would really appreciate it. If you guys went this route, did it work for you? If you did something else with the stock pump and have a different power head, what do you have and how does that work for you? I'm always interested to see different setups and see what works for people and what doesn't work for people, because I'm always open to ideas and suggestions when it comes to my fish tanks and keeping them healthy and keeping them clean and, you know, all that good stuff. So that's all I have for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned to more videos coming out in the near future. Near future is in quotes because I'm not very good at that. But yeah, that's all I've got for now. So until a future Fish Tank Guy video, I will see you guys soon.